Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, a podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. Sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking to Mandy, who is a pediatric nurse practitioner. Currently, she's working full-time at a pediatric office. She started a wellness practice and predominantly works as an RN under a medical director, where she focuses on vitamin injections and aesthetics. She's wanting to start a pediatric concierge practice and is needing assistance navigating this transition so she can utilize her nurse practitioner certification. Hey, Mandy, how are you?
Hey, Justin, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on here. So tell us about yourself. How long have you been a pediatric nurse practitioner for, and what sorts of things you've been doing?
So I have been a PNP since 2016. I spent some time at U of M and did some school-based health. And I've been at my current practice for 3 years. And prior to that, was doing some peds ER nursing and oncology and that kind of thing. So.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you started this wellness practice. So how long ago did you start that, and what sorts of things are you doing there?
Okay, so I started May of 2023. Really, my heart is I want medicine to be accessible. I mean, we've all seen firsthand that this current model is broken, and it doesn't leave our patients feeling very well. So that's kind of the heart behind it. And I'm passionate about just, these small habits that can make people feel good. So whether we're talking about supplements or we're using functional medicine practices, I did recently add on a functional medicine NP that's doing telehealth. Yeah. So my goal, though, is to really kind of pivot this to more of my specialty, and that's pediatric medicine. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I want to get into more like just accessible care for moms and infants. And I kind of started here really just to get the ball rolling, and because I like doing aesthetics, I like doing wellness, so here I am.
Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. I don't think I've talked with an NP who is basically working as an RN in their own practice under a medical director. But I totally understand why you did it, right? You're a pediatric practitioner. You can't you can't really see people. You can't see adults, right?
Right.
So that that totally makes sense. I guess a curiosity of mine is, why didn't you just start the pediatric practice right from the get-go? Why did you decide to go the wellness route first?
Well, I think because I really want to, so taking care of the entire family is important to me. I do that every day. And honestly, I wanted to start with the moms. I feel like once you're like building trust, with them and creating that relationship, the rest kind of comes. And I know that that there's just a desperate need to support that population. So I think the other reason why I didn't start with um concierge medicine for pediatrics is because I feel pretty limited as far as that goes in the state of Michigan.
Gotcha.
So, that has kind of put a damper on things. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, so this concierge practice. Well, I guess let me ask you this. What's your plan on the transition here? Are you going to continue doing the wellness stuff
I
or
want
you
to.
want,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I really do. And I think it's important because it impacts so many things. Like let's say, we have a mom with postpartum depression. Like we know that her health directly affects the infant, right? And in order to truly take care of the infant, we have to support the mom too. So getting her, having a good referral process set up, providing her with some in-home support, doing a good supplement routine, making sure that she just has those small, habits that she's doing throughout the day, whether she's drinking water, moving her body, all of those things. So, I've witnessed firsthand over the years that the parents' health or the guardian's health, whoever that, role is, that it directly affects the care of the kids.
gotcha. So the practice you're wanting to start, it's going to be more or less a hybrid. Like you're still going to provide these wellness services.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it fall within your scope to treat the mother
So,
as a pediatric nurse practitioner? Because I know with like women's nurse practitioners,
um,
they can treat the husbands, which is
yeah.
interesting.
So I think the area is a little bit gray. I do always do a postpartum depression screening on moms at those first, newborn visits. So 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, I'm always, it's a screening that I do because I think it's my job. I see them more than their OBGYN or their family practice sees them. So, and I think by doing this, I'm not doing any ill will, but I'm really, looking out like, hey, I've noticed, um, you're not really taking care of yourself, or you seem really down, or how are you coping with all of this at home? And sometimes just like opening that up and addressing it with them, they're like, oh my gosh, maybe this is what postpartum depression feels like, or, um, you know, I have more I guess in a nutshell, I have more contact with the mom than most of any other provider. And so if it comes down to it, will I start them on an SSRI and give them a referral for um, counseling? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see an
And I
issue
think
with that.
that's in an effort to protect the kid. And, like I said, in really close follow-up, I'm calling them on the phone. They're coming in a week, I think I would be doing a disservice if I didn't do that.
Right, right, right. I mean, that makes sense. And I don't see an issue with that either. I think it falls within your scope, you know. I mean, these whole scope things are
I know.
so gray. Like
I know.
there's like some state boards of nursing, like the scope is like so open for interpretation. Like
I
it
know.
really allows you to do anything you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay. So what's your vision here then? What are you wanting to truly do? Where do you see this practice? Like, where do you see
So
it a
what I
year from
would love
now?
to
And
do,
yeah.
if I had no restrictions, I would love to provide in-home support to moms within, a couple days of discharge to the home. So we're going to the home, we're doing that first infant visit, right? Like you would normally bundle the baby up and take them into the physician or NP or whatever. And so that first visit would be done at home. And then that 2-week follow-up, same thing. We're coming to the home, we're seeing what the home dynamics are like. We're showing them how to feed, how to bathe, how to, sleep train, those kinds of things. And that's just, I mean, I just think that maybe even adding like a subscription service, right? So like with concierge medicine and they're, doing like a 1 month, basically all access you're paying a fee for all access, to your provider.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where does the current wellness practice fit into this?
Honestly, I think still just, offering those vitamin injections and infusions and, still doing that mobile. Um,
Is it going to be a separate business?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't want it to be. I want it to be all one, like kind of like a one-stop shop. I'm really after like just being accessible and, um, being able to go to them
Sure. So,
without it being home care. Like it's not home care,
right, right.
you
These are
know?
so these are two vastly different kind of businesses, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I really think you're going to need to kind of keep these as separate businesses. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, just from like a marketing perception
Okay.
standpoint,
Yeah.
I just don't see how you'd be able to really tie them together. Now, if you do pediatric concierge care and the mother, needs a vitamin injection or whatever at the same time, then sure, why not? You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
from a perspective, from an outside view, from a marketing standpoint and everything, then it needs to be a separate kind of a thing, you know?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
because if someone lands on a wellness practice website, for Botox, aesthetics, vitamin infusions, or whatever, then they see this pediatric concierge care as well. It's just gonna be weird. You know what I mean?
Right.
It really
Right.
won't make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't really complement each other. So if I was you, I would keep this as just two totally separate businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't even operate out of the same legal entity either. I would completely separate it out.
New LLC.
Completely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, totally separate. Okay.
Mhm.
You will need to update your malpractice insurance policy,
Yep.
obviously, for both entities. Okay. So just, you're going to want to make sure you notify them. You should still you be able to use the same policy. I don't see why you would need a separate one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same policy should cover you, but just call your broker or call your malpractice insurance just to see
Mhm.
if they would need to add some sort of endorsement on it or
Yeah, I've been in communication with them for probably the last 2 months and have had to go a couple, we've gone round and round in these conversations and the one that I have currently with the vendor is one that you suggest, the wellness and health group or something like that.
yeah, well, wellness medical protection
He
group.
was like, "Well, our brokers kind of think that postpartum and infant care sounds kind of nebulous." And I'm like, "Okay, well, pediatrics is what I do, so it's not really like it's in my scope." Um, yeah. So it's really just kind of like finding the exact words and descriptions that don't alarm them, like that anything funny is going on.
Yeah, you're dealing with suits.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
for
dealing
sure.
with, that's just how these people work. You're gonna have to just word it correctly. Obviously be straightforward because the last thing you want to do is not disclose something and then something happens, then you're not covered.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So as long as you're going through a broker and everything, then hopefully they can just bundle it into just one policy.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So with that said, um, are you still going to continue to maintain full-time employment while you're doing all this?
I don't want to. I mean, the goal is to get out. I thought, after 6
Right.
months I'd be out of here.
Right.
Um, I mean, I've been at this for I don't know, 7 years, 8 years, something like 8 years, I think. And it's that same old NP story. You're working for a private practice and it's just the pay is crap, the benefits are crap. We're seeing 30 a day and it's yeah, it's terrible.
Gets old.
It gets old. Yeah. And so I'm really like, what can I do to really make this better for my clients, my patients? I know that however it pans out, that I'm gonna be with infants and I'm gonna be with moms. And, the finer details, I don't know. But so currently, I guess so with this wellness and aesthetic stuff that I'm doing right now, I am renting a salon suite. Okay, so and again, I only have about 2 days roughly per week where I'm getting into this place and, offering services. So my issue right now is like my overhead is about 2,700 per month. That's with medical director, insurance, supplies, and rent. And I am like breaking even, maybe a small profit, like 3 to 500 per month. So I feel like I'm just like spinning my wheels. And I want, some just guidance on where to go next. Like, do I give up this lease? Um, and just continue to do mobile care? Um,
Now, the problem with mobile, I've said this multiple times, is that you're very, very restricted on volume.
yeah,
You can only see one patient at a
right,
time.
right, because you're driving
Right,
for sure.
so it's hard to make a good profit in a mobile practice.
Hmm.
You're just never going to be able to make the kind of money you could with a telemedicine or a brick and mortar.
Hmm.
You're just not going to, unless you're charging a lot of money for the mobile, for being mobile.
Right.
You know, so uh, so yeah, keep that in mind. I mean, I think that if you can keep your location, do so. I mean, you could operate both businesses out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's not a problem. I guess. Okay, so how much money are you making with this wellness practice right now? You said like a $500 profit a month.
Yes. It's terrible.
Yeah, is that even worth your time?
I know. I'm fried. And listen, I feel like just some things that I've done. I had my website made. I've had, pictures done. Um, I've done Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Um, I really have gotten some really good movement on social media, as far as like interactions, and it's really just like transitioning those people to book the appointment. So, I'm using aesthetic record for my EMR. I recently added a blog to my website to try and help with some traffic that way. We're doing full script, medical grade skincare line. Um, yeah, so it's like, I guess my question in regards to where I'm at right now is there something that I'm either doing wrong or I'm missing that's not converting all of this traffic into booking an appointment?
Well, that's you don't know what's going on through the head of every single person who's going through
Right.
your website and everything, right? One thing is how many people, that are actually visiting your site and all this kind of stuff. I mean, how many of those people are actually real people and not just, bots that are
Right.
scouring the internet and collecting data and stuff, so you don't even know what's real and what's not, first
Right.
off, okay? Second is, how saturated is the area,
It is.
with
It
aesthetics
is.
and stuff? Is it super
Yeah.
saturated?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What about IV infusion? Super saturated too?
Um, Not terribly. Not terribly. I think that there's one, maybe two other ones that are within like 20 miles.
Okay. Um, well, I mean, it's IV infusion, vitamin injections, it is not terribly profitable to begin with.
Right.
Okay. So, realistic expectation going into it is that, I mean, how much money are you really going to make? You're probably not going to make
Right.
that much.
Mhm.
It's a volume game and the margins are slim. It takes a lot of work.
Mhm.
Um, how profitable can it actually be? Uh, my opinion on it is that it can't really be that profitable,
Right.
unless you have a lot of volume and a lot of people coming through and you have another RN working for you
Mhm.
seeing patients. Um, so so I think just first off, the services that you're offering, first and foremost, are profit limiting. Okay.
Mhm.
IV infusion, vitamin injections, it's really not that profitable. It's a great accessory service.
Right.
Aesthetics, eh, not very profitable unless you're the only show in town or you have a lot of clients.
Right.
So the question here is, you're making $500 a month doing this. Is it really worth it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, should you even bother
Right.
continue to do it? If I had a business that was only generating a $500 profit a month, I would be, I don't know. I'd be really considering if I should continue doing it or not,
Right.
you know? So, can you add other services to it that are a lot more profitable? Yes. But the problem is those are going to require, utilizing your nurse practitioner certification,
Mm-hmm.
right? Weight loss, HRT, things like that. So, um, yeah, if there's not a whole lot of people doing IV infusion and vitamin injections, I mean, there's definitely a need for it. People pay for it. I mean, you could make money doing it.
Right.
So I guess the question is do people just even know you exist?
Mm-hmm.
Do they? I mean, is your location decent? I mean, people driving by and see IV infusion? All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all elite nurse practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode.
So with the salon suites, you can't advertise outside of your suite, which I do think puts a damper on things. The building alone gets some pretty significant foot traffic, but, I mean, my location is in the very, very back of the building, so that doesn't really do me much good. When they come in the front, they can see a list of suites and what services are provided in each one and, that kind of thing. But outside
Sure.
of that, yeah.
So it sounds like the location you're at's very limiting to begin with.
Yeah, I think so.
So this is going to be my honest opinion with this is that if you really want this wellness practice, IV infusion and aesthetics, if you really want it to blow up, you're going to need another location probably. You're going to need to dump some money into getting the word out, marketing it. You need a sign on the road. It's going to take some more investment of time and money.
Yeah.
And risk. Are you willing to do that, or would you rather focus on the pediatrics?
Well, I think at this point, I do think that I need to pivot into pediatrics because that's, at the end of the day, that's where my heart is.
Right.
And whether these, and then, like you said, these additional treatments can just be like adjunct therapy, like additional services, I'm not spending, a whole bunch of time on them or, it's just kind of like an extra perk.
Right. It's a skill that you have.
Right.
Utilize that skill. Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if your medical director charges you a decent amount,
yeah,
if they're reasonable about this, then you can continue using them and you should operate out of your RN license and you could, see as many adults as you want.
Sure.
So
what do you think that would look like though for the peds, like postpartum and infant care and the medical director? You know what I mean?
Do you need a collaborator in your state?
Yeah.
You do. So if you need a collaborator in your state, hopefully will the same medical director, would they be your collaborator for the pediatrics?
I'd like them to be. I'm not sure if that is a service that they offer.
No, ask them, right? See
Yeah.
if they are.
Mhm.
I mean, if I was you, I'd find someone who could do both.
Right. Yeah, that's
I
a good
wouldn't
point.
have,
Yep.
yeah, don't have two different people. I mean, it's just gonna
No.
complicate shit unnecessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it, I mean, it's so like, it just is so frustrating to me. So at this current practice that I'm in, this peds practice, I have not had a physician in this building working with me since I started. And before that, even, school-based, you like it autonomous. And it's like, we're just done. Like,
right, why am
where's
I
the
paying?
bill?
Right, why am I paying this clown to do absolutely
I
nothing?
know. I know.
Right, I know.
Just
I worked at an urgent care
politics.
for, yeah, yeah. I worked at an urgent care for years, and my supervising doctor, I didn't see her one time. I didn't even know what she
Yeah.
looked like.
Right.
I called her maybe twice,
Mhm.
like 3 or 4 years. Like, what's the point in this exactly? We all
I
know
know.
this is horse shit, and we all know this is
Right.
just easy money for you guys. It's exactly what
Yeah,
we know. We,
for sure.
yeah, but it is what it is, right? You got to play by the rules,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So that or move to an independent state.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much your only option, right?
Mhm.
So find a supervisor that doesn't seem to really care that much. They just want their easy 5 or 7 or the $108,000 a month, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, there's no way around it if you want to stay in your state. There's just no way
Right.
around it, right? So, but yeah,
Mhm.
I would focus in on the pediatrics.
Okay.
I think
The good thing about that is there is not one that I have been able to find, that there is not one within, like, 3 counties.
there's not what.
One, pediatric concierge medicine.
Gotcha.
It's
So,
like, it's not it doesn't exist in Michigan.
so you want this to be a cash-based thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think these people are going to pay cash for this?
Well, I mean, it's a big ticket for sure.
That's my
Um,
concern.
yeah, it's a big
This,
ticket. I mean, so what would the workaround be?
I mean, you'd have to accept insurance. I mean, this is the problem with pediatrics and especially, concierge, like primary care kind of focused things is
Mhm.
that it's hard to sell cash base. It's hard to sell a cash based model to patients for it because their insurance
Right,
usually covers things like this,
right. Mhm,
and it's yeah, it's gonna be a hard sell. I
mhm.
think that if you really want to start your own thing and build that financial independence and do this the right way, I think that just with you being pediatrics, I think that you're gonna just have to accept the fact that you might have to take insurance,
Yeah.
you know, and you might
Mhm.
need to rethink this just a little bit. I mean, concierge-based care is great. I'm not disagreeing. It is if you got the money for it, you
Right.
know. And a lot of people just don't have the money for that kind of a thing, especially a
Mhm.
brand new mom. Now they're juggling the added expense of a kid and diapers, bottles and food and just bill. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So can they afford another 150, $200 a month, $250 a month or whatever to have you there? And then another thing too that you need to think about here is that what's the comeback here for the patient and for you? Is this you see the patient for a couple months, that's it, you never see him again?
Mhm.
Is there a
Right, right,
recurrent
right,
business here? If it's just concierge for new infant care and the postpartum mom,
right.
that's short-term
There's the
business.
longevity, right.
There's
Okay.
yeah, there's no yeah, there's no recurrence to it. And so it's very, very, very difficult to build a business that doesn't have that
Mhm.
because there's just you can't build a stable income, right?
Right.
It's like people who want to start urgent care, sick visit clinics and stuff. It's just like, yeah, you have to take insurance. You just have to. No one's going to pay cash for something like that. And if they do, you're charging cash for a one-time thing. You might see that patient again, maybe.
Right.
And so you really need to be thinking of that through with this. I think that if you really want to build an income stream, a business that allows you to become more financially free and allows you to work on your terms, I think that you're probably going to have to accept insurance and have more of a pediatric based kind of primary care office that you also do this concierge stuff with.
Got it. Yeah.
That's the thing about that's the thing about the pediatric certification and starting a business. You're very limited with what you can really do.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I do know some pediatric NPs who have started successful businesses who focus in on a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
Childhood obesity. Parents are willing to pay cash to get their kids,
Okay.
back to a healthy weight.
Mm-hmm.
One that specializes in ADHD. She only treats children between the ages of like 8 to 16 or whatever for ADHD. That's it. Cash based. She does very well. So if you want to have a successful pediatric cash based business, I think you really need to niche it down.
Okay.
It needs to be something that people are willing to pay cash for. So yeah, I think you might have to just kind of go back to the drawing table here.
Right. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. I do. I think it's a good idea, but it's only a good idea if you're going to accept insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other beast,
Whole nother beast. Yeah. But I know NPs who have have insurance practices who are millionaires. So it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to deal with it.
Right.
I know an MP who retired at the age of like 45 at an insurance-based primary care office, multimillionaire. Insurance. So it can work. It's just, you just got to deal with it.
Right.
Right. There's a little bit more of an uphill battle with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with all that said, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I think like going forward, I am not convinced that this location is going to cut it. So I think that needs to change. I need to get with my collaborating doc and see about adding on pediatric services. And see if they would be comfortable with that. And look into how I can organize this to accept insurance.
Right. Yeah, I think that you need to speak to a insurance biller credentialing company, preferably someone local or within your state. Okay. They understand your state's regulations. They understand the credentialing process. They have the numbers that they need to call with the insurance companies. I usually will advise people to go through a local credentialer medical billing company because they know your state. Okay. So just hop on Google, find someone in your area. Okay.
Got it.
Call them up, tell them this is what your idea is. It's probably going to take 6 months to get credentialed. So your first step here is to begin that process immediately.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's going to take a little bit of time before you can actually really get going. After that, it's going to be mostly just, where do I set up and how do I get the word out?
Right.
Do you have a non-compete? That's going to be another issue. Are you going to be able, could you do your own thing?
I do have a non-compete within, I believe, 30-mile radius of here. So yeah, I mean, I can go in the other direction, which isn't a big deal at all.
Yeah, 30 miles isn't really that big of a deal, right? 30, 45-minute drive, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Will patients follow you?
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Don't actively solicit patients.
Right. No, not at all.
Just tell them that you're leaving and this is where you're going. That's all you can really do.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to them. So chances are you'll probably have a lot of people follow you. And again, that is up to the patient.
Right.
So you will probably start off with a money generating business, probably right from the get-go. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Is there a need for pediatric care in your area?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, good care.
Right. Good care. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get a lot of junk, but.
Sure. So, you could probably start this up and you could probably make a couple $100,000 a year for doing pretty much the exact same thing you're doing now.
Yeah.
No difference. Especially if you set it up lean,
Right.
not
Mm-hmm.
unnecessary staff. Keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the wellness practice, you can keep doing it, I suppose.
Like I said, it's an additional service. It's not the meat really anymore.
Right. So what I would see this, what I would envision here is that you have a little cute boutique kind of pediatric office, something kind of simple, a receptionist / medical biller kind of person, maybe a medical assistant and you. Like that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Couple exam rooms. That's it. See 15 patients a day. And maybe on Fridays you do your wellness stuff out of.
Right.
Have like a little sign outside that says, whatever aesthetics and wellness as well. And there's just kind of moms see that, they come in, oh, you offer this. Oh, cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. So I think if you set it up that way, I could see it being successful.
Yeah. And just, really trying to stay conservative too, I think is huge. So, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Be conservative, be modest with it, go and do it with realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Now in time, how old are you?
37.
37. Okay. So you're a couple years younger than me. So in time, you want this business to work for you, right?
Right.
Right. You don't want to be sitting here being a slave to your own business. I mean, you're basically just, you're going to be self-employed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're still seeing patients. You're still grinding. You're still doing that. So in the back of your mind, always be thinking to yourself, how am I going to get this to work for me? And so you build this up, you put the sweat equity into it, in a couple years, then you hire a part-time NP to come and start seeing patients for you. And then you just grow it from there. And then hopefully 5 years from now, you have a pediatric practice that maybe has 2 or 3 other providers in there seeing patients for you, and you can kind of step back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. That's how you become financially free, that way. So, any other questions?
I don't think so.
Any other concerns?
Nope.
No. Okay. I hope I didn't rain on your parade.
No.
Sometimes I hate podcasts like this where you come up with an idea and by the end of it, it's kind of, we're just scrapping it and starting over.
No, I don't think so. That's not really how it panned out. I think it's just, really finding what's going to work and what's not. Like, I mean, there's always risk involved, right? And I'm not worried about it. I mean, back to the drawing board. It's
good.
All good.
Okay. Good. Okay, cool. I like the end of the episode with you asking me a question. You have a question for me, a personal question or a curiosity or anything like that?
How long did it take you as a small business owner before you left your full-time NP job?
Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 answers. I'm going to give you the actual real answer, the time, and then the answer of what I should have done. So I was working full-time at an urgent care, working part-time in an ER, and then doing like some odd jobs here and there, doing like some Suboxone and stuff when I first got started. So that would have been 2017, 2018. And I continue to work full-time at the urgent care. Oh, geez, too damn long. 2021, 2022. So 4 or 5 years. I kind of started dropping down to part-time towards the end there and then worked part-time on more of a part-time basis for about another year or 2 and then finally quit. Long story short, I should have quit the urgent care. I should have just quit working there completely, probably about 2 or 3 years in. I kicked the can down the road far too long.
Got it.
And yeah, and the reason was because I was scared of losing that income source.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And in reality, I would have been completely fine if I would have just left. I'd have been fine. I'd have been more than fine. I would have invested less money, because I was making that additional income as well. But I think that I probably would have gotten to where I am at today a lot faster if I would have left that job a lot earlier.
Right.
And I probably would have been a happier person too. I was stressed the hell out.
Yeah, man.
Starting 3 businesses and working full time. And I don't understand. I don't
Yeah.
understand how the hell I did it.
Listen, I have 6 kids at home. I had a baby last summer. Like, I am fried is an understatement. Like, I am just so sick of this rat race.
Yeah.
And not to sound like a prima donna. I've been a nurse for 15 years. I'm like, I don't want to work like this anymore,
Right.
especially for someone else.
Right. Especially for someone else. And listen.
Yeah, if it's me, like I like working for my small business. I
Right.
don't really have a time cap on that,
Right.
but it's like working for someone else. I'm like, I'm good. No.
Right. You get sick of it,
Yeah.
and
For
don't
sure.
be, and don't be guilty about it either. Don't feel guilty about it. Like, listen, you've done your duty. I mean, you've, contributed to the community for the past 15 years as a nurse and a nurse practitioner. Like, you've paid your dues,
Yeah.
and as you start getting into your mid 30s or early 40s, like, this shit starts becoming hard on your body,
Right. Yeah. Right.
you
Good
know?
point.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, you got to kind of start stepping back a little bit. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that you're actively making the right decision doing it now, because I'll tell you, the older you get, the harder it's just going to be,
Right. Right.
So yeah, so I wish you luck. I hope that, hopefully you can figure something out. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you can,
Yeah. I mean, I think really like, one of the hardest things is that there's no one to really like mentor this business going forward. Like there's no one you can really bounce stuff off of, right? Because no one else in the area has something like this. So I think that kind of makes it a little bit difficult. So I'm literally digging through, anything I can find to, figure it out.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's really not that hard. Don't complicate it.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
say that a lot.
Yeah, because it's not hard. People complicate this stuff. It's not
Right.
complicated. You know what I mean? Like, I've said this multiple times. I'll say it again. As long as you are not killing or hurting patients and committing fraud,
Yeah.
get out of your head.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I
That's so
mean?
true.
Like,
Yeah, it's so true.
yeah, like, you're not gonna, like, if you don't have some sort of bullshit license that the Department of Health requires you to have, and all it was an application, you had to pay them $80 or whatever. And if you didn't know you needed that, what's the worst case situation? You start your
Right.
practice, you're 2 years in, you get a nasty letter from the Department of Health. Oh, whoops. Just slap on the hand, you pay for it. It's not a big deal.
Right. Right.
You're not going to jail over that.
Right.
So just get out of your head. As long as you're not hurting or killing people or committing fraud, you're fine.
Yeah.
Get patients in the door. That's what's important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. Any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. And if you ever want to do a follow-up, you got my email. Let me know.
All right. Thanks, Justin.
All right. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
I hope everyone enjoyed the episode with Mandy. A lot of good information there. Unfortunately, I didn't think her idea was going to work. I think it's a good idea, and I think there's probably a need for it. But just from a business standpoint, I don't see how a business like that could be profitable long-term, especially cash-based, So as you start your practice or you offer new services and that sort of a thing, make sure you're always, considering, does this have long-term ability to it? Is this something that's scalable? Can you actually grow this? You have to have recurrent business. You don't want to offer services where, you see the patient just for, one time or a very short period of time, like 1 or 2 months, and then you probably won't see him again. If you offer services like that in a business, it's very difficult for that business to grow because you're always having to get new clients. And to get new clients, you have to market, and marketing gets expensive. And so it's cheaper to maintain current clients than get new clients, okay? So keep that in mind. So sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board as you start a business or you offer new services and that kind of a thing. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I've had to redo plans and go back to the drawing board. Okay, so there's nothing wrong about that at all. And so hopefully Mandy will be able to pivot here, open up maybe more of an insurance-based pediatric office. And I think if she does that, I think she could easily make a couple $100,000 a year, be her own boss, and get all the upside. All right, hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks, bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.